YouTube, it's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, now it looks like undefeated, unified WBC IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer who is widely considered to be top 3 pound-for-pound fighters in the world, Errol Spence Jr., is now the target for 8th division legendary, iconic Filipino superstar boxer Manny Pacquiao, as Manny Pacquiao and his team are now stating that undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the WBO welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, Terence Crawford. Well, they're stating that Terence Crawford refused to sign his part of the contract. That Manny Pacquiao, he signed his part of the contract to have the fight stage in Abu Dhabi, okay? June 5th, okay? Now, we know that legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO and promoter Bob Arum, he stated that Abu Dhabi Investment Group had a $50 million offer on the table to stage the Terence Crawford versus Manny Pacquiao fight. This is a fight that Terence Crawford has been seeking out for the better part of 6 years. And now Bob Arum, he was stating that Terence Crawford was willing to take $10 million and that Manny Pacquiao now wanted $40 million, okay? Initially, for the better part of 6 years, when this fight was being talked about, Bob Arum was reporting that Manny Pacquiao, he wanted $20 to $25 million to have a fight with Terence Crawford. Then when the $50 million offer was on the table, that Manny Pacquiao now seeked out $40 million. But Terence Crawford was willing to concede the $40 million as long as he got guaranteed a $10 million. This is according to Bob Arum, okay? Now we're hearing reports that Terence Crawford, that Manny Pacquiao, he signed his part of the bargain, okay, to stage a showdown in June. And that, the fight was scheduled in June. And we saw that they reported that Terence Crawford versus Manny Pacquiao fight will be taking place June 5th, okay? Now, according to reports, that Manny Pacquiao, he signed his portion of the contract, that Terence Crawford refused to sign his portion of the contract, and now the investment group have walked away from the table, and now the money is not there, and they never show proof of funds that stated that they were willing to put up this money. Okay, so there's a few hurdles here that Terence Crawford, it seems to be, he wasn't comfortable with. It seems that Terence Crawford simply wasn't comfortable with the offers that was on the table or the way things were being negotiated. If Manny Pacquiao's team is stating that Manny Pacquiao signed his portion and Terence Crawford didn't sign his portion, okay, to have this fight staged in Abu Dhabi June 5th. Now, it's looking like, and on top of that, the investment group never showed proof of funds. So maybe Terence Crawford wasn't comfortable with them not showing proof of funds, and maybe he wasn't comfortable with the 80-20 split with Manny Pacquiao, okay? And they're saying that Terence Crawford, he just wouldn't sign his portion of the contract. And now they're saying that due to the lack of proof of funds and due to the fact that Terence Crawford didn't sign his portion, that Manny Pacquiao is now moving on, okay? So now with that said, now Manny Pacquiao, according to reports, has turned his attention to Errol Spence Jr. Now, we know the biggest fight in the sport of boxing currently is Errol Spence Jr. versus Terence Crawford. That's the super fight. And it seems like, as I stated to you guys, that Manny Pacquiao is currently just looking to cash out. Okay, he wants the biggest opportunity possible, the biggest revenue fight that he could possibly make, because he's looking to cash out. He needs to, be able to fund his campaign to run for president in the Philippines, okay? So Manny Pacquiao, this current time, not that Manny Pacquiao is in desperate need of money, but this would definitely help, okay? So he's looking to, secure the biggest amount of revenue he could possibly have and be able to fund his campaign for president in the Philippines, okay? And it's abundantly obvious because he had no interest in fighting Errol Spence Jr., or it seemed he had lack thereof interest to fight Errol Spence Jr., when he was a champion. Manny Pacquiao was a WBA champion after he defeated former unified WBA welterweight world champion superstar boxer Keith One-Time Thurman, July 2019. The WBA, according to the WBA, they informed Manny Pacquiao that he needed to fight somebody within the top 10 ranking system or a unification bout, or he run the risk of them removing him as the champion. Manny Pacquiao, he was inquiring about facing UFC legendary iconic superstar Conor McGregor, but Conor McGregor was knocked out by Dustin Poirier in his rematch. And now he's going into a trilogy match. Then it seemed like Manny Pacquiao, according to reports, was interested in facing lightweight undefeated Mexican superstar title contender King Ryan Garcia, who's 22 years of age. It hasn't done anything within the sport of boxing. It looks like money grabs on the part of Manny Pacquiao, okay? And maybe Terence Crawford was not happy with the split. Maybe Terence Crawford wasn't happy with, this investment group that, wasn't showing improving, okay? They was talking a good game, but they wasn't showing a good game. Maybe Terence Crawford wasn't comfortable with that, and he refused to sign, okay? And so now with that say, Manny Pacquiao, it's abundantly clear he's looking for the biggest cash out opportunity, win, lose, or draw. And now he was the world champion. He could have won in a unification bout, legacy fight. This is the issue that I have with Terence Crawford and Errol Spence, even entertaining Manny Pacquiao, because Manny Pacquiao could give them legacy fights for their career, okay? Because the world champion, he could have went into unification bout with huge implications on the fight. He's just looking to cash out, okay? At this point in time, he knows he's a legacy fight for these guys. He knows he's a big name, and he's trying to create as much leverage as possible to garner as much revenue as possible. Maybe Errol Spence wasn't willing to take an 80-20 split. Maybe he felt like, well, Terence Crawford is willing to take an 80-20 split, so I'll go that route. Well, now Terence Crawford is not willing to do it. Now he's turning his attention and his sights to Errol Spence Jr., and he's talking about they're looking to stage a fight in July against Errol Spence Jr. Initially, they was looking to fight in June, okay, against Terence Crawford. So if he was looking to fight in June, now he's willing to fight in July with Errol Spence. This just lets you know it's a money grab on the part of Manny Pacquiao, and he's holding up the sport of boxing. Me personally, I like the fact that Errol Spence and Yordenis Ugas, WBA regular champion, who was elevated to super champion when Manny Pacquiao was relieved of the WBA title. I like that unification bout, okay, in July. That's a unification bout for 3 belts, huge implications on the line. Now they're going to dangle the carrot that for Errol Spence, that it's a bigger money fight, bigger revenue fight, and a bigger legacy fight for Errol Spence Jr. I don't like the fight, okay? I truly hope that Errol Spence, stays the course of fighting Yordenis Ugas in the unification bout for the WBA title. Create your own niche. Create your own legacy. You guys don't need Manny Pacquiao to create their own legacy. They could fight one another, and it's just as big of a legacy fight for their own era as it is to fight Manny Pacquiao. Now, it's great to have Manny Pacquiao name on your resume. It's great to have shared the ring with a legend, and you can earn big money. But you could earn big money fighting each other. You could get just as much of a legacy boost fighting each other as you would fight Manny Pacquiao, who's 42 years of age, who's been knocked out multiple times, and who's lost, in dramatic fashion to outclassed by Eric Morales, Floyd Mayweather. Yes, he's simply a name at this point. He's a shell. Okay. So you get Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, versus one another is a super fight, and have 2 fights, rematch clause, and it would be a huge fight. Okay. It's legacy fight. Create your own niche, create your own legacy. This point in time with Manny Pacquiao, it's abundantly clear to me that it seems as if Manny Pacquiao is simply playing games, due to the fact that Manny Pacquiao is just looking to garner and as much revenue as possible. So it's not about him fighting you. It's not about the legacy. It's not about the sport. It's about garnering revenue. Obviously, this is a prize fighting. So you're trying to get as much money as possible. But this is something Floyd Mayweather was trying to explain to Manny Pacquiao when their saga was ongoing, and he was trying to explain to Manny Pacquiao how much money they could earn in 2 fight deals and so on and such. But Manny Pacquiao refused. And for 5 years, it dragged on until they had a fight. It didn't live up to the billing, and they never had a rematch. So with that said, that's a lot of money left on the table that Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao could have garnered. And now he's targeting Errol Spence fight in July. Okay. I don't like this fight. It has no implications for Errol Spence. It does nothing for Errol Spence's legacy, his career, in my opinion. Now, obviously, it's revenue, okay? Obviously, 20 years from now, somebody's going to look back and they're going to say, oh, you have Manny Pacquiao on your resume. Okay, if that's the case, then Terence Crawford needs to fight Yordenis Ugas in the unification bout. Errol Spence beats Manny Pacquiao, and then he's still a 2-belt holder. Terence Crawford needs to go ahead and fight Yordenis Ugas in a unification bout. Believe that Terence Crawford would beat Yordenis Ugas. I believe he'll stop Yordenis Ugas. Now he will be the WBO and the WBA champion. Errol Spence will be the IBF WBC champion. And then they could come together and have an undisputed mega showdown if that is the case, okay? But I would much rather see Errol Spence go the route of facing off against Yordenis Ugas in a unification bout, and then face Terence Crawford in a mega, massive, undisputed showdown. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. But make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Oh, it is your boy Jada Kiss. Make sure you check out Blue Blood Sports TV. It's going down.